Faithful, Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. It is back, or I should say, I'm glad to be back. I should say that. Glad to be back on with the best 49ers. Uh, I'm glad to be back with the best NFL fans. I can't even get it out. I'm so juiced. I'm so excited. I don't know about you guys, faithful and Chargers fans, if you're in here, but hey, the 49ers are coming off of their bye week. It was boring without the 49ers playing. I'm just being real. Of course, I love to watch football, but it's nothing like when your team doesn't play. I'm juiced that we got the bye week. We got some guys healthy, but I'm glad to be back on with the faithful, the Niner Empire, the best fans in the NFL. And I thank you guys for watching and joining us today. This is a special show today. We have a very good friend of mine, a guy that I've known, I would say, at least a year or two now through YouTube. I love watching his content, and he covers a variety of teams. So let's bring on our special guest. He goes by Jake the Snake, and he is a huge LA Chargers fan. Let's bring this gentleman on. What's good? How you doing, Jake?
Doing good. What's good, my man? Everything looks to be great in the Bay now that you got officially the Run DMC going on in San Francisco.
Right? Absolutely. Yeah, what a trade that was, for the 49ers to bring in CMC. I was surprised by it. I think this is a move where, CMC has been injury prone the last 2 seasons, but he is a dynamic player when he's on the field and he's healthy. And you pair him up with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, that's like a Super Bowl, maybe a Super Bowl propelling move that the 49ers have made. What did you think about it? Because I know the other team in LA was interested in getting CMC. Let's start off there. What did you think about the Niners getting CMC?
I thought this was a fantastic trade because, first and foremost, we watched the Rams last year. And we saw with how the season was going on. Every team that shoots for the playoffs want to go deep into the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. You got to take big swings. Yeah. I know that, picks were involved and the rest of it, but look at what you have. You have a very competitive and healthy offensive line. You have the best offensive weaponry around in the league. I mean, Deebo Samuel, he's doing his thing. And then Brandon Ayuk, what a jump, though, this year. He's looking a lot healthier. He looks better and promising for the Niner Empire. And you still got George Kittle. And think about it. The running backs, it's a running back by committee. So it's not like Christian McCaffrey has to do everything all on his own. Right. They plug in well. But you know what's funny? And I heard a conversation about this. If you don't think Kyle Shanahan saw this before, you do remember the Super Bowl in 2018 when Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. What was the one secret weapon that Tom Brady used? That was using James White as a pass-catching running back.
Yeah.
Now, Kyle Shanahan has a pass-catching running back in Christian McCaffrey. And he sees that to where he's using a lot of the things that beat him in the past and is now starting to work that to be his absolute arsenal in the offense. I mean, I was very happy for Christian McCaffrey. I honestly thought, because there were several teams that were interested, the Rams being one of them, because they were just not going to deal with Cam Akers. I mean, It's already been put out there public. I thought this would have been nice to having Christian McCaffrey in Denver because Ed McCaffrey, his dad, very big name in Denver. I thought it would have been an interesting thing, but they may not have had all the picks. So San Francisco, I love it. I'm all in for it. And it's going to be quite the tough challenge facing off against the 49ers. I mean, the fact that you're getting a lot of guys back healthy offensively and defensively. I mean, this is a team looking to go on a run. I mean, they're already 2-0 against an LA team this year. And it's like they're literally making the Rams look terrible. Yeah. All the offensive play schemes, it's like they can't figure it out. So I was all in on that trade.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was a little skeptical based on what I had previously said about, CMC's availability. But, when he's healthy and he's on the field, it's another dynamic weapon. We know Jimmy G his forte, his strength is not really throwing the ball deep. So I think this fits well with CMC. He can run those routes from the line of scrimmage to 15 yards out, and he's a playmaker when he has the ball in his hand. So I'm eager to see how this trade plays out. And it's not just we've made trades at the deadline before. Emmanuel Sanders back, I think that was in 2019, propelled us to the Super Bowl, but he was only on a 1-year contract. With CMC, we've got him for the next 3 years. So I think it's an excellent move. And then CMC next year with Trey Lance. I mean, we'll see what happens when that comes to pass. But glad to have you on. Go ahead.
Oh, here's one thing that I do want to point out, because the fact of like the injury concerns.
Yeah.
Talk about having a hell of a relationship with somebody who, in the same boat, everybody had questions about his availability and his injuries. I mean, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, because he's such a locker room guy, he's preaching up that kind of relationship with Christian McCaffrey, saying, look, I've been there. People who honestly, they criticize because of availability and injuries. I think that does help out the chemistry because of the fact of that's somebody that's trustworthy. And it's like, I've been there. I'm shutting out the crowd, and we're just coming out and we're playing games left and right. We're battling against opposing teams, and we're just having fun with it. And I think that's really what, the 49ers, that's why I think it's going to be such a great relationship. But again, whoever the quarterback may be in the future, whether it is still Jimmy G or it is Trey Lance, whatever the case may be, I mean, how could you not love this whole offense? It's set now.
No, I agree. And I think the only way Jimmy G comes back next year is if we win the Super Bowl, right? I think that would be a great problem to have. But, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Got to give a huge shout out to everyone that's in the chat right now. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to Jay in the Bay. I got to say, what's good to Kelts Chronicles, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight, man. Hopefully you're having an excellent Saturday night. We have Sejan in the building. What's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream tonight. Sejan says, what's up, 49er Empire? I will be reading comments throughout the show. But for those that have never heard of Jake Silva, man, it has been a while since we were on each other's streams. So, where can people find Jake Silva on social media, and also let the people know, what you talk about on your YouTube channel and your platforms?
Well, of course, everybody here on the chat line and, of course, on this broadcast, we all love sports so much, but we also do love the entertainment side of things. So if you love a best mixture of both, the Snake Sports Talk Show is also somewhere where you guys can find me. I'm all over the whole social media grid: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Those are where you can find me. And, of course, now, for the first time ever, the Snake Sports Talk Show is now officially televised on live TV through Fox D Network. So you guys, you can find me on Roku, you can find me on Apple TV, so everywhere, right there on the edge of your seat on the couch, right in front of your television. You can finally watch me there. And I talk everything. I talk everything sports. I am a Chargers, Golden Knights, and Oakland A's fan, which could be future Vegas A's with the way things are going.
I know, right?
But I do absolutely love talking about sports, and I talk about the hottest topics just lately. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check in on this past episode today, because we'll be streaming tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys do not want to miss that. And for those that can't make the show, we do have a recap, and we'll officially be on AMP, the brand new streaming app where people could, like I said, you could listen to music, do your podcasting, all the rest of it on AMP. So you don't want to miss that. That's at 8 a.m. right after the show, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys don't want to miss it.
Nice. And also I have Jake's social media platforms, Twitter, IG, and YouTube, all in the description of this video. Check him out. He's doing big things, doing exciting things over there. Gotta say, what's good to Niner Game Wolfcast. Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight. Hope you enjoy. Let's talk about, let's get into the game. The Niners and Chargers are meeting up. The Niners are 4-4, Chargers are 5-3. Both teams are second in their division. Now, how would you sum up the first half of the Chargers season so far? 5-3, dealt with injuries. What say you? How would you describe their season so far?
If I had to describe the Chargers season through the first half, I really would love to utilize Russell Wilson's saying of "What a ride!" It has been a roller coaster ride, if I had to say so myself. But the team is just hanging on by a thread, man. I mean, the way that things have been happening with the fact of, and we'll get into it too, especially with injury reports, all the rest of it. But this team right now, this has been a do or die situation. I mean, the fact that we talked about it in the offseason with the acquisitions of Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, Austin Johnson, and Sebastian Joseph Day, a lot of big name pieces, and strengthening the offensive line through the draft and continuing to keep it consistent. It has not been easy. And a lot of this was, I mean, we had the first week matchup against the Raiders at home, which I was very happy of the win. Kind of seemed slow, but of course, it's unpredictable in week one. We all know this.
Yeah.
But what really kind of hit the nail in the coffin was after the week 2 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the fact that Herbert had hurt ribs, everybody all of a sudden started to get hurt by right early in the season. Like it's a tough pain, but they've been trying to establish with the offense and defense. Right now, both sides look really lost in several areas, but they're still trying to, keep themselves afloat. They're still trying to, at the very least, achieve the expectation that was put by the beginning of this season. And right now, I mean, Brandon Staley, he's up and on the hot seat. I really hope that the Chargers understand that the offensive coordinating position has not been great. Like Joe Lombardi, I've said this since they hired him in 2021, is you're coming off of an OC that had the Chargers ranked 7th in offense to somebody coming out of New Orleans where the offense was ranked 24th. Like, that's just an absolute downgrade. This is not Drew Brees. This is not this dink and dunk stuff that you're literally trying to implement in this offense. I think a lot of it is they're holding the reins back on Justin Herbert, which we saw his potential. He's throwing the football down the field left and right. He's obviously competitive enough to face off against someone like Patrick Mahomes in his division. But I mean, you won't see this with Andy Reid, with Patrick. You don't see this with Sean McDermott and Josh Allen when they're like, don't let it rip, don't take a risk. Like, come on. This is what the league has been built upon. And I mean, like we talk about with the 49ers, they have a set offense. And we know that there's sometimes concerns with Jimmy G. But look, if you're giving me the accuracy and you're giving me the throws to the right guys, who cares? Everybody else is going to be able to play their part. But right now, like I said, they've just been holding on to a thread for the long time being. But at the same time, there needs to be a change in staff, because if the team doesn't make the playoffs again for the straight year, Staley may be gone. Joe Lombardi for sure is going to be gone, and they're going to have to look for new coaching. And I've brought it up to 2 different coaches. It's either going to be you rewrite your wrongs, which Shane Steichen, which we know he's a hot commodity out of Philadelphia, which he's going to be a great coach for the future, that the way he plays the offense. So I think if you rewrite your wrongs with him, he'd be a great fit. And maybe potentially a guy that's golfing there in Los Angeles majority of the time, who's also a great analyst, but is waiting to get back onto the field as a coach again, Sean Payton. That'll be one guy that I think he's looking at the talent, but does Dean Spanos want to spend the money? That's the one concern that Chargers fans are waiting on for that.
Yeah, there's no doubt Sean Payton will not come cheap. That's for sure. He'll probably, try to get at least $10 to $12 million per year. He does have a Super Bowl championship on his resume, and I think they spotted him at Chargers games this season. So, hey, very, very interesting. But that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, if Brandon Staley was on the hot seat, and you answered that, because there's high expectations for the Chargers, same as with the 49ers. Before I get into what I think about the 49ers first half, I got to say, what's good? We have Jesus in the building. We got Bryant, KD. Hopefully everyone's doing well. We got Tommy, and I will continue to go through those comments. But if I had to summarize the 49er season, I would say we've been very, very inconsistent. We've been incredibly average. When you have losses to teams like the Chicago Bears, the Denver Broncos, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, no shame in losing to the Chiefs, but they had their way with us. It was a pretty easy victory for the Chiefs. But when you lose to teams like that, I can't speak for all the faithful, but I don't really know which team will show up on Sunday. Obviously we've had the Rams number for quite some time. And that's evident in the victories we've had versus them this year. And I think we've had either 7 or 8 straight victories in the regular season versus the Rams. So,
oh dear God,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
clearly we have the
Shanahan's
number.
been having McVay's number for years now.
Exactly. If we just played every team like we played the Rams, hey, I think we'd be in much better shape than 4-4. But there's still 10 more games to go. The season, there's a long way to go. Surprisingly, the Seattle Seahawks are leading the NFC West. And we've dealt with injuries. We'll definitely get into that. But I think in the 4 games that we've lost, it's usually been down to either penalties and turnovers. Like those are 2 things we can't really seem to overcome. And you can't beat yourself and expect to beat other NFL teams. So that's going to be key in this game and every game going forward. I believe when Jimmy doesn't throw an INT, this team usually wins the game, and especially if we can run the ball. So I know that's something we're definitely going to do against the Chargers is run the ball. But I think the season is still young, and bringing on CMC, that could catapult this team, give this team some extra juice that I think will be needed, toward a playoff run. So I'm very much looking forward to this game. I mean, this is a AFC West, NFC West game. It's going to be in front of the world, Sunday Night Football. So very, very much looking forward to it. Now let's.
I said this has been a top game for me. I've been excited about it. And look, the history between 49ers and Chargers games. I mean, look, I'm still feeling that pain from Super Bowl 29. All right. Like I'm still feeling that pain, but still, I mean, this I think is going to be such a fun matchup. And here's the other thing, that the fact that Chargers are blessed with back-to-back Sunday night games between 2 really good franchises, 49ers and then Kansas City next week. Like I need to fill up like maybe 4 boxes of popcorn just to sit up on my couch and just watch this for back-to-back Sunday nights.
Yeah,
like, this is great.
The next game is Monday in Mexico City against the Cardinals. It's a division rival game. So, yeah, that's going to be an intriguing game as well. But, both teams have battled injuries. We're probably 2 of the most injured teams in the NFL. Yeah. I don't know what it is with the 49ers, but ever since under Shanahan, we've been, I think if you look back over the past 5 to 6 years, we've been the most injured team out of every NFL team. So it's just crazy. I don't know what Shanahan needs to change, but something has to change because there are other teams that don't deal with this. And I know, yeah, every team deals with injuries, but you never want to be the number 1 injured team over the past 4 to 5 seasons. So, but let's look at, the injury report for the San Francisco 49ers. We are getting some guys back. So that's a huge plus. Unfortunately, Eric Armstead, he's got multiple injuries to his foot and ankle. I don't really see him playing again the rest of the season. He hasn't really played, I believe, since maybe week 3, maybe week 4. So he's been out for a month dealing with multiple ailments. So I'd be surprised if he makes an impact during the regular season. Aaron Banks, he practiced all week. He is our left guard, second-year starter. He's doing pretty well. He hasn't allowed a sack so far this season. So Aaron Banks is doing big things. Samson, questionable. I anticipate he'll be a game-time decision. Unfortunately, he did not practice. He's got a quadricep and Achilles. But the guys we're getting back, Dre Greenlaw, Juwan Jennings, Kyle Juszczyk, Jimmy Ward, Deebo Samuel, the big one, Deebo Samuel, because he didn't play last week due to a hamstring injury. So I think the 49ers are getting healthy at the right time, and hopefully we can keep this clean bill of health. A guy very well, Jason Verrett, he was a first round pick of the San Diego Chargers. Yeah, it's crazy. He suffered so he was coming back from the torn ACL. So he hadn't played in any regular season games yet, and he had just been activated to the active roster, I believe, a week ago. And in practice, he tears his Achilles. I don't know any other player that's had two torn Achilles, two torn ACLs. Like that's just
he's just having a
yeah.
bad break, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, like a former Charger, like I hope he recovers fast, because that's just you never wish that upon somebody who's just literally been out and then having to come back to practice just to be out again.
Yeah.
Like
it's just unfair. It's unfair. It's just totally unfair.
It really is. Like please, football
straw.
gods, give him a break. All
right.
right.
and I know, coming back from a torn Achilles is tough, very tough. We've seen it in basketball.
It hurts.
KD has kind of come back, but he doesn't really rely on necessarily explosiveness or jumping ability. We've seen Klay Thompson do it with the Warriors. But in football, it's really hard to come back, and especially a guy he's already at the over 30 years old, and he's missed more games than he's played, and I think he's only had like 2 seasons where he played every game. So terrible luck. He's a Bay Area kid. I wish the best for him. Who knows if the Niners will bring him back on a 1-year deal and try to do this again. But I just wish him the best. Obviously, if he continues to pursue his career with the NFL or if he decides to retire, and I just wish him the best, in his retirement life, man, because that's just unfair, man. It's devastating to him after rehabbing, coming back from the torn ACL, and then to have his Achilles. It's just totally unfair, man.
And honestly, like when he played his full season with San Francisco, like I had nothing but great things to say about him. I mean, he was a promising corner out of TCU, and the guy just was playing so damn good. And I was really hoping that at least we would have had a lockdown corner, because that was who we needed next to Eric Weddle and a lot of really good people. And in the end, it kind of shot us in the foot. And then just to see him in a full season with the Niners and how good that he's been a shutdown corner, like I was just very happy for him. And then in the end, now this happens. Like, I don't know, man. And I hope that this isn't like career threatening to him either, because an Achilles with it hurts, guys. Like, it's no joke. It's like literally like you feel that string in your heel and you can't even walk on it.
Right.
Like, it hurts. You can't even put that much pressure. So it's tough, man.
Yeah, it's definitely devastating. Back-to-back injuries, back-to-back injuries where he's out for the rest of the season. So, that's terrible. Sucks that happened to him again, but the 49ers do have to move on. It's all about the next man up mentality. And I'm glad that we are getting some guys back. Now, speaking of the LA Superchargers, unfortunately, Keenan Allen is out. Mike Williams is out. I'm gonna pull up the rest of the injury report for the LA Chargers. So for these guys that are out, let's see, we got obviously Keenan Allen. Let's see. What about guard tackle Brendan James? Looks like he's questionable.
Brandon James, he's questionable. I think he's probably going to be game time decision, but I think he's going to be ready to roll. They're going to need him because of the fact of, the most important one that I was hoping for was Trey Pipkins. Right now, I think he did practice, and I think he's going to be game time decision from there. Okay. He's questionable as well. But I'm hoping that if he is healthy, because let me be honest with you, I really hope Storm Norton does not come in this game. Like, because if that's the case, that's going to be a feast for San Francisco. Like that is like a lot of defensive guys would love to face off against Storm Norton, but it's terrible. But I hope that Trey Pipkins does feel better and he'll be ready to roll. I think he may be. Brandon James, same thing. But yes, again, in straight weeks with Keenan Allen, I could not stress this enough. I've said this several times. Like, why did you not call the Jets? Why did you not call a lot of these different, personnels and different organizations to get a wide receiver. Like, this is embarrassing. And you're talking about Keenan Allen being hurt for straight weeks. Mike Williams, he may be ready to roll next week against Kansas City, which the Chiefs hate Mike Williams. They know he's a Chiefs killer. So that'll be great for the Chargers for next week. But they've been very dependent on somebody like DeAndre Carter, a kick return, punt return guy who's been stepping up as a wide receiver. And then you have Josh Palmer, who's ready to go. He'll be one that's going to be getting a lot of targets, and I've been impressed with Jordan Palmer. I think he's been really, really good. Josh, sorry. But I do think Austin Eckler, though, he's going to be proving as a factor right there. That is going to be one important piece that the 49ers are going to probably work to take away. Because if he ain't got it all. Yeah. And if you ain't got Eric Armstead, and you at least got a couple of guys that are there up on that front, I would love to see that front line matchup between the offensive line of the Chargers and the defensive line of the 49ers. Now, mind you, line either. The Rams offensive line, I mean, they are desperately missing Roger Saffold. They're missing Andrew Whitworth. I mean, the line looks terrible. Now you're in a different LA team where this is kind of something they're holding on to. And they're holding on without Rashawn Slater. And that Jamari Salyer kid from Georgia in the 6th round, what a steal that kid was. I mean, he's been playing great. But the biggest thing is that the Chargers, they've been brittle on the receiving core. That's why I was just so pissed that they didn't even make a move, at least to get Denzel Mims or Elijah Moore, somebody up in there, because they're cheap. You're not paying them that much. Yes, you may sacrifice on draft picks, but at least Justin Herbert's got a wide receiver, because I think in the middle of it, if Keenan Allen is suffering this many injuries, he's not going to hold on for long. That's why I'm like, get his potential replacement at this point now. And if you don't do that, we're probably going to be screwed. But I think, like you said, I think if the 49ers can fix up the inconsistencies and against the Chargers, that'll be a big one for the 49ers. But I don't know, man. I've been watching all these games, and I'm a betting person. I live in Vegas, man. And all these games have been screaming underdog. It's been weird. A lot of these games have been either 7 points or less. Like, this is crazy. None of the favorites, like maybe 3 or 4 games, but I know this is a 7 score. Like, this is just a touchdown score on the line. But I don't know, man. I kind of feel the underdog on this one.
You know, I mean, how can you deny Justin Herbert? I mean, even though he doesn't have his main weapons at the wide receiver position, you know, Austin Eckler, I mean, he does it all. He leads the team in rushing. He leads the team in receiving. Like, the guy does it all. So he's definitely going to be an interesting matchup for the 49ers defense. That's for sure. Quick question for you. You know, how do you think? Oh, and actually, before I ask you that, I think the weak point of the 49ers defense is obviously our defensive tackles. You know, we're without Javon Kinlaw. We're without Eric Armstead, unfortunately. So we have depth guys who do well when they play 10 to 12 snaps a game. But when they play, you know, 30 to 40 snaps a game, they're not as effective. So, you know, I think that is the way to attack the 49ers defense, is up the middle. I'm not sure if the Chargers will be able to do that. They don't. Like, I know Eckler does it all, but they don't have a great rushing attack statistically. But we'll see if they'll, you know, run the ball up the middle. We are getting, I think, the best linebacker trio in the NFL, with Fred Warner, with Dre Greenlaw, with Azeez. Greenlaw and Azeez are coming back. So I think that'll definitely help out the run defense from the 49ers aspect. So it'll be very interesting, but that is something I wanted to ask you. But before I do that, got to say, huge shout out to everyone that's in the chat watching the stream right now. If you guys are enjoying this 49ers LA Chargers talk, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and also check out Jake Silva. All his social media info is in the description of the video. If you're enjoying, he talks hockey, A's, the Oakland A's, LA Chargers. So tune in to Jake. So how do you think if you're the OC of the Chargers, how are you going to attack this 49ers defense, which is pretty good? I don't think it is what it was when we had Emmanuel Mosley starting, another guy who got injured out for the year at corner. But how would you attack this 49ers defense if you're the Chargers OC?
Well, if I'm doing a better job than what Joe Lombardi seems to be doing all season long, how I would attack the 49ers on the play schemes is a couple things. Number one, ground and pound, baby, because what have the 49ers been playing? They've been playing the 1980s physical game. So play against them physically. Like, that's the one way you're going to show up against the 49ers, because they want to be in your face. They want to basically hit you hard. And this is basically what you got to do, ground and pound, because of the fact that the defensive tackles, that front line is going to be open. I mean, that's where you got a really good offensive line that can open holes for a guy like Austin Eckler. And listen, if he's giving me 6 yards a carry, maybe even 7 each time, and we're just, controlling the clock and running it down, playing the physical game that San Francisco has been playing all season long, that would be the big advantage for the Chargers. Because honestly, it's going to be difficult. And the one target that I know that they might take away is Gerald Everett, the tight end, because of the fact of a really good linebacking core. You've got to have somebody that's going to be overseeing the middle of the field. And that's what's dangerous in the NFL now. We watch it with Travis Kelce. We watch this with George Kittle. So if you're controlling the middle of the field, Gerald Everett might not be around, to be found in the field. But here's the other thing too. With Jason Verrett gone and the one other corner, you can expect situational plays where you're going to see guys like Josh Palmer and all the rest of them start to get open. And so that's where I think, honestly, the Chargers really need to work on. Run the football down, at least expose that D line, and try to get them to lean towards from pass to run. If you do that, and they're leaning more guys like Mike linebackers or anybody that's going to try to come in to at least get the blitz, that's the part where Justin Herbert, quick enough to go and get quick plays and be situational. Like, force San Francisco to think, because that's where they're going to get deep in their heads, and then they will have no answers. But that's how I would start it with that offense.
No, great points. And I think our pass defense is definitely lacking since Emmanuel Mosley got hurt. I don't think it's as good, and I think that is a area that the Chargers can attack. But can they do it without Mike Williams or Keenan Allen? That is the $100 million question that will be answered on Sunday night. Got to get into this super chat. Hot diggity dog. Appreciate that super chat, Jag. He says at intheBay, Jake, how have the Bolts done in turnovers? Can you provide some insight on that, Jake? How are they done? Do they turn over the ball a lot on offense, and do they get a lot of turnovers on defense?
Well, so far, I mean, Justin Herbert, he only has 5 picks.
Okay.
I mean, that's all he's got. I mean, he's completing at least. So this is the thing. I put Emmanuel Acho on blast on social media, and I know nobody cares about that, but here's the thing. He wanted to say Justin Herbert is overrated while he's completing 66% of his throws, 13 touchdowns, and 5 picks. Are you kidding me? Like, this guy, and he's obviously big on the Miami Dolphins. Like, it's just ridiculous. But to me, I think a lot of it had to have been like special teams that has been the concern for the Chargers. The other part of it too is that you watch how, I mean, with the turnovers, the passing has not been that bad, but they just haven't been able to throw the ball more downfield. It's been kind of bad from this point on. Now, as far as first downs, they're 23rd. They're 23rd right now with 42 first downs.
Okay.
They haven't been great. And the rushing, I mean, they've been holding on to it at least, and they're +3. Yeah, so they're +3 up in turnovers. So, I mean, in the end, I mean, the Chargers have been trying to work to making sure they're not coughing the football up as much. But sometimes you never know, because if somebody's getting a big hit or somebody's trying to make a big takeaway, sometimes it's how you recover afterwards.
Yeah, no doubt. Gotta say, what's good to Key in the building? How you doing? I love your new logo. It fits you well. And she also says, "What's up, Jake?" And
What up, Key?
you mentioned the special teams. I noticed on the Chargers practice report or injury report that your kicker is out. So who's going to be kicking for the Superchargers this week?
Well, I know that there's a name up out there that's an infamous name as known as Dicker the Kicker. So Cameron Dicker, who ended up getting the game-winning field goal against the Atlanta Falcons, which I can't believe that game ended up going close. I'm
Yeah.
serious. Like, I can't believe it was that close. But ultimately, I mean, the Chargers, Cameron Dicker, he's filling in himself in a role. I don't expect him to do too much. I expect him to just be the guy to just make the field goals when we know we need to get him in special teams, a guy that's going to make the extra points, because remember, extra points really are important in this league. You're watching a lot of these kickers, and sometimes it's not really good. But he's going to be a guy that I think is going to be clutching some of those pieces. But yeah, I think Cameron Dicker, he'll be really, really good. So I know Dustin Hopkins being hurt does kind of feel for us, but if we're doing it with what we got right now and just only expecting the simple stuff, I will be comfortable with that.
Okay. All right. So we know about the stars on each team, Bosa, Fred Warner, Herbert, Eckler, Derwin James, Khalil Mack. Is there a unheralded Chargers offensive and defensive player, or not a household name, that we should be on the lookout for as 49er fans? Is there another guy who can come in and fill those big shoes of those players who are hurt?
Well, I know right now, like a lot of these guys, they haven't been, they're not basically brand new. This has all been Tom Telesco setting up this offensive line. But I do expect, guys like Jamari Salyer. I mean, if you're going to be expecting guys to be pass rushing, that guy, he's going to have some big times, coming around with trying to block from these potential blitzes.
Yeah.
So I expect him to have a really good game from there. But I
What
think
position does he play?
he plays tackle.
Tackle.
He's
Okay.
actually playing in the position that Rashawn Slater was at. So that's been the utmost importance, because you got to give Justin Herbert some time to throw in the pocket.
Okay. And
So
that's right tackle, right?
Yep, that's right
Okay.
tackle.
Okay.
Yep. And then I think my only concern is hopefully that the left tackle is good, because like I said, Trey Pipkins, if he's healthy, he'll be good to go. I will be relieved of that. But yeah, I think, this offensive line, I mean, Zion Johnson, we're loving him in the guard position right now. He's been a really good force out of Boston College. But a lot of these guys, I mean, this has been inherited from Tom Telesco's offense. So I think a lot of this, expect the tackles. They're going to be playing real good as long as Trey Pipkins is healthy. And hopefully Brendan James, he'll be really good in the guard position too.
Yeah, I think obviously football is won and lost in the trenches. And I think on both sides of the ball, the 49ers have some guys. I think the interior of our offensive line with Banks, Brindle, and Burford have done pretty well. And also Brunskill is added in there as well at the guard spot. They've done pretty well, and they're all young in their careers. Banks is a second-year guy. Brindle's first year starting, Burford's first year starting. So I think they're doing pretty well. But the tackles now, McGlinchey, he's solid for about, 35 out of 40 plays, right? Mm-hmm. And then, it's 3rd and 10. We really need McGlinchey to anchor down. And that's when he gives up pressures and sacks. So obviously, but when Khalil Mack lines up against McGlinchey, that's going to be
a battle right
huge
there,
problem. Man. Yeah. Mack leads the team in sacks, I believe, with 6.5.
And by the way, who said he's washed? I mean, the guy is looking his absolute part since he's been in the AFC West.
I'm glad. Of course, I would love to face the Chargers, 100% healthy, but I won't be mad to not see the other Bosa, not playing. But hopefully he gets healthy. Hey, I wish he'd play next week. Just
God, I was waiting for that, honestly. Like that, like if it didn't lead up to this, oh God, Nick and Joey on the field, like that would be an absolute feast.
That'd be incredible. I don't think they've played a regular season game together or versus each other.
No, they have yet to do that.
So, But hey, maybe in the Super Bowl. Hey, that would be nice, man. If I had to think of any unheralded 49er players that Chargers fans should look out for on offense, I mean, I think it's top heavy. I mean, with Kittle, with Debo, Ayuk, CMC, Mitchell is now Elijah Mitchell. He's not a household name, but he's definitely a productive back. I just don't know how many. I just don't know how many carries Mitchell will get. I would be
Mhm.
surprised if he got more than 10. I mean, the guy only played one game this year. This is his first game back this Sunday against the Chargers. He dealt with, I think he had a sprained MCL. So
I
um
expect a split.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, let's say if the Niners, I think the Niners will run the ball over 38 times. That's what I'm thinking. We win the
Yeah.
time of possession.
Yeah.
I think CMC gets the bulk of those carries, maybe 15 to 20, and then Debo might get 5 to 7. Elijah may get the rest. There's also Tevin Coleman and Jordan Mason, who are backup running backs. Not sure if they'll get any playing time. But yeah, I guess if unknown name, maybe Elijah Mitchell could make an impact in this game on offense. On defense, I would say it's probably going to be. I would say I'll go with this. I'll go with our rookie edge rusher Drake Jackson. Drafted him out of USC, a second round pick. He was our highest draft pick this year in the draft. Now Samson, our starter at edge, he's dealing with some injuries. He's basically a game time decision. If he doesn't play, I don't think Jackson will start, but I think he'll definitely get more snaps. I think Charles Omenwehu will probably get the start. And then they'll mix in Kerry Hyder Jr. They'll mix in Drake Jackson. So I think Drake Jackson on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's tied. He might be tied with Aiden Hutchinson, the edge rusher out of Detroit. I think he was a top pick in the draft. I think
Yeah.
they're tied with sacks. So hey, I think maybe Drake Jackson can get a sack, in this game versus the LA Chargers. So those are my two guys, Elijah Mitchell and Drake Jackson, who could possibly make an impact. You got about 10 more minutes, Jake?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
I got about 10 more minutes.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Give me a few keys to victory for your Chargers. What are some things that if the Chargers do will pretty much seal the deal for them, getting the 6 wins on the season?
I think honestly, the keys to victory on this one, number one, ground and pound. With the fact that the defensive line is a little bit exposed right now, take advantage of the opportunity that you got. I mean, there's not very many windows that open up for stuff like this. So at that point, you got to go for it up on the ground. That's the one way that you're going to at least get San Francisco to think. Number two, Herbert, you better hope he's fully loaded, man, because he's always going to have something there in the tank that none of us really expect. I mean, as a playmaker and as a guy who's clearly this franchise quarterback, I expect him to really make some good throws, and especially when you got Josh Palmer, which is one of the most important things that the Chargers know that they needed. But it's next man up from here on in. And that's exactly what the way the Chargers are going to be playing. They know they're hurt. I know that they're a little bit brittle right now, but at the same time, they're going to need everybody to start to step up. And finally, shut down Kyle Shanahan's offensive play schemes. And whatever that may be, whether it's bringing maybe 2 guys up front to stopping those run plays, knowing how Debo Samuel, when he gets open, he's explosive. And they're utilizing Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey, but at the same time, to eliminating those potentials of either George Kittle or, I got to say this, Brandon Ayuk at least. Those guys, anytime that they get open, they're explosive. So if you eliminate those potential plays, because they got a good secondary, you can't mistake it. I mean, Asante Samuel Jr., he's up and out there. Derwin James, and these guys, they got to be shut down on those plays, but it's utilizing a lot of that. So that's what I expect with the keys to victory from there.
No, absolutely. And yeah, Asante Samuel lining up against either Debo or Ayuk, that's going to be an intriguing matchup. And Asante Samuel was a guy I thought the Niners would draft. He was, with the cornerback position was definitely a need going back to the draft last year. We ended up with Aaron Banks. Banks is looking really good this year. So hey, maybe that draft worked out. But yeah, it would be nice to see Asante Samuel going up against another, top flight receiver in Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel. I gotta say, hot diggity dog. Appreciate that $5 super chat, Blue True. Blue True says Saturday Night Live with Jay and Jake. I like it. Have a great game tomorrow, guys. Go Niners. If you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it. And I'll give you my keys to victory for the 49ers. I think it starts up front with making sure that Jimmy G has protection. In Jimmy G, when he's most effective, he has time to throw from the pocket. He's not, running around, which we know he can't do very well. So it's going to be imperative that we block Khalil Mack and the rest of that Chargers defensive line because they can present some problems. And Jimmy can maneuver in the pocket, but I don't think that's when he's at his best. He's at his best when he has time to survey the field and make good decisions with the ball. So number one, provide protection for Jimmy. Number two, we got to run the ball. The Chargers are one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. I think they give up the most rushing yards on average per game, and that's what Shanahan loves to do. He loves to run the ball. So when you run the ball, you not only you win the time of possession, you're converting third downs, and you're not allowing Justin Herbert and that Chargers offense on the field. So you got to chew up the clock. Make this a game that's won at the line of scrimmage. And I think the 49ers, will put themselves in the best position to win if they do that.
And you got an opportunity without Austin Johnson now out for the season. So It's like another frontline guy, not there.
Yeah, and it'll be the battle of the defensive lines because we're banged up on our D line. Can we stop? Austin Eckler, he may not run the ball like a Derrick Henry, but he's a guy that can do it all. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball out the backfield. So, he can do a lot of things on the field. My number 3 key to 49ers victory, I think, will be you got to play disciplined football. We cannot have, excessive penalties. We cannot, turn the ball over. And unfortunately, I think Kyle Shanahan is 2-3 after the bye week. So, what, and like I said to you before, Jake, this team, you don't know what you're going to get from week to week. So, what type of energy, what type of passion, how does this team react coming off of a bye week? Do they come out and, blow the doors off the Chargers, or will this be a close game? I'm intrigued to see how the 49ers will play this game, at least, especially the first half. Like, what's the energy that they bring? Are they excited to be back on the field? Because this team has been inconsistent with 4-4, losing in Denver, Chicago, Atlanta. Like, come on, man. We shouldn't be losing those type of teams with our playoff aspirations. So those are my keys. Protect Jimmy, run the hell out of the ball, and, protect the football, on offense. So those are my keys. Now, let's ask the audience. Feel free to put in your prediction for the game. Who wins? Feel free to give a score prediction, and we'll do the same here. Jake, who you got winning Sunday Night Football prime time? Chargers visiting the Niners at Levi Stadium. Who you got winning?
So I picked, the Chargers and the points on the underdog because of the fact of you're coming off of a bye week here with the 49ers. And the thing of it is usually it really does depend on that, how they come back. Do they come back fully energetic? I think part of that is, like you touched upon, the inconsistencies. Maybe the bye week was exactly what the Niners needed from there because they needed to take a minute to slow things down, at least kind of digest with the fact of you got Christian McCaffrey now, you got a lot of this stuff. So it gives them a step back to just relax, kind of relieve themselves, and maybe focus a little more on the playbook to at least master that craft. So I do think that this will be an opportunity for the 49ers to really come out with a win on this. But to me, I'm taking the Chargers +7 on this one, and I think it's going to be a 28-21 49ers beating the Chargers on this one because of the fact of the Chargers have just still can't catch a break on injuries. And in the end, it's unpredictable football too, because of the fact of we haven't seen games where, favorites have really covered those scores. So that's why I'm like, if I'm in a position with how this game goes on, you got to take the covered points. That's why I'm like, I know it's the Chargers and I know with what we're dealing with, But that +7, man, I don't think the 49ers are going to go past that. I think they're going to go maybe just that and keep themselves at least to that point. So I think it may be a close game, man. But I do see the 49ers. They're going to work this way through, and I think they're probably going to come out with the victory against the Chargers. But if the Chargers prove me wrong, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at our schedule, we've only really blown out 2 teams, and that was Carolina and Seattle. I don't think this is that was the same Seattle team that is now first in the division that we played weeks ago. And Carolina, they're a mess. So I agree with you. I do think this will be a close game. I think one big factor in this game is, can the 49ers defense get off the field on third down? That's something that we've been struggling with. Some games were good, some games were not. But if Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense can continue to make plays on third down and continue drives, that spells trouble for this 49ers defense. But I think the 49ers at home, getting Deebo Samuel back, getting Elijah Mitchell back, Dre Greenlaw at the linebacker spot, Jimmy Ward. I think he had it cast. He broke his hand, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think the cast has been removed, so that should allow him to play much better at that safety spot. I think the 49ers will win this game. I think it will be a close game. Justin Herbert shows a lot of heart playing through, the rib injury and willing his team to, 5 out of 8 victories so far on the season. I think the 49ers win this game. I think it'll be high scoring. I think it'll be like 31-27. And I think Herbert will present us some problems. But yeah, I think the Chargers will give us all we can handle, at home. So,
and here's some pressurizing stats. Okay. So apparently somebody put in the chat, 49ers haven't beaten the Chargers since December 3rd of 2000. Is that literally true?
Is that true? I don't know if that's true. I don't know.
And then someone put an overall record 8-7, but who leads that record? That's what I want to find out, is who leads that overall record of 8-7. Because that's pretty impressive, but that's going to be pretty pressurizing. So that tomorrow night's going to be fun to watch.
It will be. I'm so glad this is a nationally televised game as well. It's going to be really, really exciting to watch. But man, it was great having you on, Jake, man. I wish we could do this, more often. But man, great having you on. Looking forward to the game tomorrow, and let the folks know still watching where they can find you at and what they can expect from all your social media platforms, man.
Absolutely, you guys. Well, like I said before, you guys love sports and entertainment. We got a mixture of both on the Snake Sports Talk Show, and we are back at it live, 7 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Just before, we've got an entire weekend of great matchups as well. So you guys do not want to end up missing that. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Those are the places you can like, follow, subscribe, and hit the bell button to keep you up to date on shows. And plus, too, for those who have their televisions and you've got your subscriptions, we are officially now on live television, Roku, Apple TV, and a lot of different mixtures on the Fox D network. So you guys do not want to end up missing that as well. Tuning in on the Snake Sports Talk Show every Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we got lots of great guests, and that's why I'm like, I love being a guest on every show, and I love bringing on a lot of different guests up on the show. So, yeah, we definitely will collab at least at some point. But yeah, hopefully when you got a weekend open, man, we'd love to do this again.
Hey, absolutely. And I just looked up the Chargers versus 49ers history, and yeah, that stat is true, that the 49ers have not beaten the Chargers since December 3rd, 2000, where the Niners won 45-17. Let me make this a little bit bigger.
Wow. And the Chargers lead the series. Wow.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. So, and under Shanahan, we've only played once before. That was September 2018. The Chargers beat the Niners by 2. And then the previous game was 2014. The Chargers beat the Niners. That was an overtime game. Chargers won by 3 points. But yeah, the Chargers have had, the
last time they beat them, they were formerly San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been
So they
quite
haven't
a
gotten a
long
taste of
time.
LA yet.
Yeah, it's been a
Wow.
long time. So hopefully, hopefully the Niners can reverse that, start a new trend, man.
We'll see, man. It's gonna be
We'll
a hell of a
see.
battle.
Absolutely. Well, you have a great rest of your weekend, Jake. Man, it's been a pleasure rocking with you tonight. Appreciate you for coming on. Hey, and enjoy the rest of your weekend and enjoy Vegas and enjoy the game tomorrow, man.
Absolutely. Thank all you guys. Thank you, Jay in the Bay. Always so good up in the Bay, guys. You have no idea. He's bringing all the hot content. And thank you, Niner Empire. You guys have obviously been best fans up out there. And Charger fans that are also watching, man. Let's bolt up strong on Sunday night, man. This is going to be a great game. Big time North and SoCal coming together
Yeah, I
and
know.
playing again. So let's make it worthwhile on a Sunday night. But yeah, good luck to you, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you Sunday night.
Absolutely, man. All right. You have a good rest of your night, man. Appreciate you.
You too, man.
All
Thank you.
right.
Take care.
No worries. Take care. All right. That was Jake. All his social media platforms are in the description of this video. Check him out. Does excellent job with his Chargers content. He also talks about the Golden Knights if you're into hockey, talks about the Oakland A's. So always great to collab with Jake Silva. Let's see. We got Jag. He says the Niners are going to win 24-17. All right. KD, what's good? And what's good to Jag as well. KD has the Niners winning 28-17. All right. Kelts Chronicles, hot diggity dog. Kelts Chronicles says the Niners about to beat the brakes off them good old LA Superchargers 41-14. And for those that don't know, myself, Kelts Chronicles, Amin the Dream, and Bay Area Baller 18 have a show we do together every Monday night, usually around 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time after the Monday night game, where we talk all things 49ers. We call it Straight Out of the Bay. Looking forward to us linking up tomorrow night and also the following Monday night, because I think the Niners play next Monday night. That'll be in Mexico City against the Arizona Cardinals. So definitely looking forward to that. Hopefully you are having an excellent weekend. Celts, Raphael 562 Niners. What's good? He's got the Niners, I'm assuming, winning 27-17. Blue True says CMC time. Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing him in our Niner uniform on Sunday night going up against the LA Chargers. And I'm intrigued to see what Kyle Shanahan has up his sleeve and how he'll open up the offense for, McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel will be back. Juice will be back. So Elijah Mitchell. So, man, we're getting a lot of guys back. He says, Kels Chronicles, he says, and the Rams 31-14. Okay. You talking about yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Kelts. Raphael says, great show. Appreciate that, Raphael. Glad you guys enjoyed the show. Jim Everett the Great. What's good? Why are you talking about things in the past, Jim Everett? Come on, man. We ain't worried about the past. We're worried about the present and the future, man. Yeah, Tommy Huxley. Yeah, the Chargers do lead the all-time 49ers versus Chargers, but we did beat them in the Super Bowl. So that's a huge W right there. Appreciate the kind words, Kelts. Appreciate that, man. David McNew, what's good? He says go Niners. Absolutely. Kelts Chronicle says Super Bowl vibes tomorrow, 49-26. That's funny. Appreciate the kind words, CJ. Glad you guys enjoyed the show. I will be having a post-game live stream tomorrow night, I think at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it will be a call-in show. So feel free to call in tomorrow night, of course, on the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. And we will talk all things 49ers. We will react to the 49ers versus Chargers game. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Tommy says Chargers will put more of a fight than the Sissy Lambs. That's funny. Probably. They probably will put up more of a fight. G-Rod, what's good? G-Rod says Niner Empire, bang, bang, Niner game. Absolutely, 24/7. We got David Villa in the building. What's good? He says Niners best ever. What up, Faithfuls? Absolutely. How are you doing, DV? I hope all is well. Yeah, I know those Run CMC shirts are nice, man. Kels Chronicle says we should do it directly after the game tomorrow night. That is a good idea. But I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I'm doing my show tomorrow night, and normally we do our thing Monday night. But yeah, the crew, we should talk about it, make a group decision, and go from there. But we'll see. We'll see what comes to fruition. G-Rod says, Jim Everett, wrong chat, but go find the losers chat, LOL. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, them Rams are struggling. There's no doubt about that. Those Rams are struggling. Make no mistake about it. But huge shout out to everyone that tuned in tonight, everyone who contributed to the stream, whether you just made some comments in the chat, whether you gave a super chat, appreciate it. And I will be back here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, talking all things 49ers. Will be a call-in show. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that show. Absolutely. You could call on the landline. Absolutely, Tommy. Yeah, call in tomorrow night, man. No problem. But everyone have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. And man, we are about 24 hours till kickoff tomorrow night at Levi Stadium. I can't wait. But I appreciate everyone that tuned into the stream tonight. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Go Niners.